Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. We're at 900 subscribers. I'm so excited. Thank you guys so much for subscribing. We are going to continue to talk about crime because I want to spread awareness, and it's just stuff we need to talk about. And it's also weird, but I actually like the feeling that I'm like where I'm at right now in my room. If you have not seen the shirt, all I did was turn my desk like diagonal, and it's just so much more space in here. It don't look like it on the camera, but I can actually like move around now, and I don't have to be so close to my camera. Well, not close to the camera, but so close to like the monitor. It's just so much better this way. I definitely got more room. And did I hit the microphone? But yeah, I actually have more room, and it's so much more comfortable. I actually like the way it looked too. And I also have my second studio light up, so I have a lot of lights. I have a lot going on in here. One day I'm going to do a video showing y'all how I do my setup, because it's a lot that goes into this. I have to pick perfect, like specific and perfect angles. I was going to record it, like put the camera over here, but I didn't want it by my PC. Also, this is the good side angle and not this one. So I was like, I didn't want it to look like this, but I didn't want y'all to see the window and look outside. I was like, it's not easy picking a perfect angle, but this is the good side, so I'm going to keep it like this. You see my shoes and books behind me. But maybe one day I'll do, I said this on my little short, talking about the area I record in. One day I might decorate this, y'all, and do like a true crime thing. And there are a lot of books I want to get, like murder books and talking about crimes and cases, just because I'm always talking about crime. I also listen to crazy podcasts, Stephanie Sue podcast, my favorite, Rod Mango. Like, I listen to that every day, literally. Like, that girl caught me up on like so much stuff, and I've been listening to her podcast for a while. So I learned about a lot of crimes through her. So I want to get a lot of books and and it's crazy because when I went in Barnes and Noble, I actually seen a lot like of those cases, and I was like, they're infamous cases. A lot of stuff creeped me out, but I was like, I'm actually intrigued. So I might get some of those to put on the shelves over here. I don't know how I would decorate it. If I would want it dark in here, it would be cool if I did like backlighting on here. I was actually thinking about that, putting like some strip lightings under here to make like, just some lightings under my shelves, and just to give it so when I can turn the lights off and record in here and make it more creepy. Maybe, we'll see, because I got a vision, but it's going to take a while to try to execute it. But anyways, we're talking about crime today. So I got a topic for you guys. We're going to talk about if youth, young kids should be charged as adults for the crimes they commit. Now, I'm going to talk about a crime on here as well, okay? It's one I had on the list for a while, and it's dealing with young people, ages 8 through 11, I believe. That's everybody's involved. The victim was 8. I think the suspects were 10 and 11. So, and they drowned the little boy. That's the case we're going to be talking about. So I plan to talk about the case. I'm going to share the screen with you guys. We're going to read the case, and then we're going to jump to another tab where I'm talking about the youth, because I did my research a little bit, and I wanted to pull it up to share the screen with you guys, because there's 2 documents I want to cover. It's going to be I'm trying not to make it too long, but I feel like it's going to go that way because I have a lot of opinions. I actually found out there's 2 sides to this. Some people say yes, some people say no. So on that note, let's get into it. I'm going to share the screen with you guys, talking about the case first. So we are going to start by talking about the little boy that was drowned by 2 older boys. They're all young, but they're older than him. He was 8. We have the suspects 10 and 11. Now, they are not showing these boys' faces, which I find interesting. They always do this, and I'm pretty sure it's to protect the kids. Now, this is the thing, though. We're talking about crimes. This is all about kids. It's like, it's sad. The parents don't believe there was justice because they only got like 2 years in the detention center at the time of this crime. So we're going to read the case first, guys. It's really hard, okay? 10-year-old and 11-year-old gets 2 years for borough pit, killing of 8-year-old boy who was held under the water until he drowned. And that is Noah Bush. I don't even think they said the suspects' names. An 11-year-old boy in Georgia was recently sentenced for his role in the killing of an 8-year-old boy who was drowned at a construction site in a so-called borough pit earlier this year. On May 15th, Noah Bush, 8 years old, disappeared from his family's home in Jessup, a small town roughly 70 miles southwest of Savannah, Georgia. On this day in question, he went out with 2 other boys. Mistaken for friends, they turned out to be his killer and his killer's accomplice. Now each of those boys, who are white, will spend 2 years in a youth detention for their roles in the black boy's death and initial cover-up. On May 16th, shoeless Noah was found in the water of the burrow pit, a hole in the ground that provides filling material for construction projects. And near his body, there was a no trespassing sign. Initially, Wayne County authorities chalked the death up to a tragic accident, but the water was deep, his family noted, and Noah had a fear of deep water. Noah was an intelligent, kind, and loving child. A GoFundMe for his family remembers. His light was radiant and his smile was infectious. He loved playing football, basketball, gaming, and giving out infinite hugs. He will be missed so much, and this loss will leave a hole in so many hearts. Weeks passed, 55 days to be exact, before the calculus changed. Noah's manner of death was determined to be a homicide. This finding was based on the fact that one of the two juveniles whom were with Noah pushed him into the deep portion of the burrow pit they were waiting in, the Wayne County Sheriff's Office said in a statement provided to Savannah-based affiliate in June. In short order, an 11-year-old was charged with 1 count each of simple battery, involuntary manslaughter, concealing the death of another, and criminal trespass. His 10-year-old accomplice was charged with 1 count each of concealing the death of another and criminal trespass. Under Georgia law, neither child could be named. It's like they were charged 2 years in the detention center, which is crazy. But it's like, I would say name them. Give them shame. Let them be shameful. And maybe that might be the thing to, like, fix the issue. Because, like, how are kids able to do this? What are they, like, they're some sickos. And I'm saying sickos for kids, y'all. There are a lot of evil kids out here. Y'all seen, like, ID Discovery. They got a whole show about this stuff. How it's about how the kids are raised. And I seen a picture of the mom in one of them, and they arrested her for something about, because she was, like, hiding evidence or something. And she looked like I don't like to judge a book by its cover, but she don't look like the most caring mother at all. To my neck tattoos, she looked like a biker mom. That's the best way to put it. But definitely with this stuff, you have to look at how they're raised, because they're young, they're kids. Okay, now, I'm not going to get into, like, the adult part until to the end, because I want to hurry up and finish reading this, okay, guys? This 11-year-old admitted under oath he, in fact, led Noah Bush down to the clay pits, pushed him into the water, and ultimately held his head under the water until he drowned. Small comfort, tiny elation, and bittersweet acknowledgement for Noah's family. The disparate pieces of the story they were told simply did not fit together, and they knew their child. They knew he would not have gone swimming and accidentally drowned like that. The whole entire tragedy has been tough on my family. I just want to say thank you to the community. If it weren't for you standing by my side, we wouldn't be able to push for justice. We wouldn't have gotten as far as we have, the mother said. The 11-year-old's mother was later arrested on 3 charges, including making false statements, according to Savannah-based affiliate. In comments to the TV station, Wayne County Sheriff's Office said those charges were not directly related to the Bush case. The 10-year-old was sentenced to 2 years in July. The 11-year-old 2 years on Thursday. The story that they were told was that their son had accidentally drowned, Johnson told the paper. They knew that was not true then, and today the same was confirmed in court as the 11-year-old juvenile confessed to the horrific crime. The family's attorney believed the killing was racially motivated. According to the Journal-Constitution, it said the 11-year-old was part of the search party, despite knowing that Noah was long dead. Now that the 2 culpable children have been sentenced in accord with the maximum punishment in the Peach State due to their ages, Noah's mother do not believe anything like justice occurred. This isn't justice, she said outside the Wayne County Courthouse on Thursday. My baby was 8 years old with a full life ahead of him, and 2 years is what the state of Georgia calls justice for an entire life that's lost. There is no peace, there is no comfort, there is no closure for me. I will live with this for the rest of my life. Unfortunately, the world we live in today, I believe, there's so many different races, and when there's 2 different races killing each other, you automatically think it's racially motivated. I don't know. Maybe they just lured the boy and wanted to murder him. I do believe obviously they did it, so they really wanted to kill that boy. I don't know if it's racially motivated, though. You would never know that unless they say it. Or you could look at their family and see if they hate black people. It's really hard to say that it's racially motivated. But I think because it's always white and black, it's easy to assume that. But we know they murdered this boy because they confessed about it. They held his head down and drowned him. Now, what do they deserve? Before we get into the whole juvenile thing, because I'm going to share the screen with you guys. What do they deserve? I believe they deserve... Okay, now look. I don't like murderers. These are kids, unfortunately. Why 2 years though? Why not 10 years in a detention center? Like, until they're 18. If you want to say life in prison, if y'all believe in life in prison, you'd be like, okay, why not go to a detention center till you're 18 and then off to prison? Now, I think because of their ages, they weren't going to get life anyway. They don't do that. I also believe they should name them and they should show their faces. Shame these kids. That's what they need to start doing. Like all these kids who murder and stuff, shame them. They're going to be like out of the detention center in like 2026. So there's this case in the UK, and I want to know if y'all heard about it, because it's like a little bit of similarities with this, but the crime, like what they got, is very similar to this. It was very horrific. It was more horrific than this, like pure like crime. Like they murdered this boy. You had these two young kids around the same ages as the suspects on here, and the boy was younger than him. They lured him away from his mom in the mall, and while they were shopping for clothes or something, but they lured him away, and nobody thought of anything when they was walking on the street because they looked like brothers. So they took him in the middle of nowhere near the train tracks and they killed him. Horrific crime, very brutal, and they ended up putting his body. They laying his head on the train track. And the train track, like the trains can't stop, and they decapitated him. And like I was like, when I heard about that crime, I was like, oh my God. And like it was a tear jerker. Like that was really sad. And the only thing I could think of, I was like, I hope that little boy was dead before that happened. That's the only thing you really can. I'm not gonna say pray, or you could be like, please, because that's very gruesome, very like just this. Oh my God, it's dark. Like to get decapitated by a freaking train that cannot stop. Like that's how like horrific that crime was. And they didn't name those kids. They didn't show their faces. They was in a detention center for not long at all, and they were able to come and go. They murdered a kid and they was able to come and go. They saw that they like hid like evidence that you have to watch close. It was so much evidence, and it's crazy that they was able to get out. They didn't go to prison, but as they got older, because this is an older crime, as they got older, these boys ended up, they was back and forth in prison because they was like, nothing changed. And that's what we're going to talk about with the crime, the juvenile thing, the difference, because they was in there, and because of that, they had like still have freedom and nothing changed. They were still committing crimes, and they just ruined their lives. So you can really be like, do that really fix anything? Does a detention center, that's really the question today when I say, should youth, like the young people, be charged with murder as an adult, or like whatever crimes they commit, because a detention center really don't do nothing. These places, these rehabilitation places, are there to like fix these kids, and they don't. A lot of them do not. Like a lot of kids go on back to crime. A lot of kids fake it until they get out because they know they don't have that long. So 2 years is definitely not enough for this crime. That's what I'm leading to. Like, they should have been in there for like 15 years, 10 years. And I want to know the stipulations again, like what else they got. Like, what do they do up in this detention center? There's a lot of stuff. Because little kids, like young kids, have a lot of freedom. Are they talking to therapists? Are people studying them? Like, why would they commit this? I would think I would hope they have psychologists, because the brain is not fully developed, and we're going to talk about that too when I switch the screen. It's not fully developed, and does that play a part in it? There's a lot of questions to it, but this crime was very horrific. Not enough time. 2 years is actually insane. That's the maximum. Like if they were 16, they would go to, I really don't think detention center and juvenile is the same places. I'm thinking about it, because they say detention center for like younger kids, but if you see 16 or something, they'll say juvenile until they're 18 and they're in prison. So yeah, crazy crime. I cannot believe like 2 years is actually wild. I really don't believe it was, I'm not gonna say I don't believe it. Allegedly it was racially motivated, but we would never know until somebody actually admit that. If you see them writing down, I hate black people, them talking about how they hate them, it's really hard to say if it's racially motivated. But yeah, no justice for this little kid. He didn't deserve this. So young, only 8 years old, and murdered by two 10-year-olds and 11-year-olds. So now I'm going to switch the screen. We're going to get into this juvenile talk, okay, y'all? Now, this is on their juvenile law center. I wanted to see what they say about it, because they have their opinions too, which I believe, let's talk about this real quick. It definitely depends. When it's a crime such as murder, I believe they should be in there until their age. It's the age group that messes it up, because you have to think of it's a lot they go into. I know that brain activity, like a lot of stuff, but my personal views about that, yeah, your brain is not structured, but you still know right from wrong. So that's the hard part about it. It's like you still know right from wrong. Did they know what they were doing? Yes, they knew what they were doing. They planned this. They talked to each other about it. They lured their little boy to that area to murder him. Like, the little boy didn't know better, because kids don't know better. They talk to everybody. Like, it's easier for kids to make friends. So they lured that boy. It was definitely premeditated. They didn't even say that. It was premeditated. So I don't understand why they got, I believe they had manslaughter, but it's like, this wasn't accidental. They killed that boy. They said it. This was like pure, like, first degree murder. But I don't know if they would even give that to a child unless it was like I did that case with the dude that killed his entire family, became a serial killer at like age 17. Like, he was tried as an adult because he was almost 17, well, almost 18. But like, if a little kid did that, I feel like he would be in a detention center for longer, or, juvenile system for longer. I don't know, until he's 18 and then go life in prison. Like, it's hard to say that because, well, with the kids, because a lot of people don't believe little kids should be in, like, juvenile until they're 18 because it's such a long time. And they don't believe they should get life in prison because they're like, okay, they can change. But you be like, can they really? They knew right from wrong. They ruined their lives. But these little kids, these suspects, they're so young, charged 2 years, only got 2 years, which is actually weird that that's the law in Georgia, at all places. Youth tried as adults. Despite the establishment of a separate juvenile system over a century ago, youth are routinely charged and prosecuted in the adult criminal justice system. The numbers of youth facing adult prosecution increased substantially in the 1990s in the wake of a baseless and racist myth that a generation of super predators was on the rise. While crime has steadily decreased since that time, these laws continue to subject youth to criminal conviction and sentencing. Adolescence development and the law. Scientific research show key developmental differences between youth and adults that impact youth's decision-making, impulse control, and susceptibility to peer pressure. While these differences do not excuse youth from responsibility for their actions, the U.S. Supreme Court has repeatedly recognized that youth are less blameworthy than adults and more capable of change and rehabilitation. Punishing children the same way we punish adults do not advance public safety. Research also shows that as youth mature, they are substantially less likely to reoffend. Locking children up for years will extend their incarceration well beyond the time needed for them to be rehabilitated. Now, I don't agree with this because there's a lot of cases, like, you gotta look at, like, the cases that these kids are like what are the kids are doing? There's a case where, it's on my list actually, but there's a 14, you'll hear it again when I talk about it, a 14-year-old that sexually assaulted and robbed a 90-year-old woman. What makes him go do that? Like, you have to study their brain. And I feel like the only thing they would say is that he's in his prepubescent era. And you're like, no, that's disgusting. That's a crime. He know right from wrong. Why would you rob somebody? Why would you sexually assault an old lady or anybody? So would this stuff work? They're saying that you shouldn't keep kids in these places for so long because it won't fix anything. And it's just, don't treat them as regular prisoners. It's like, why? They commit crimes like regular prisoners, so why can't you treat them like them? Now, I don't agree sending kids to prison, obviously. They said it used to be a thing. It shouldn't, because, you have these disgusting sexual peak, like, never getting out. They want to attack other inmates. They're disgusting, women and men. They rape up in there. And I don't agree sending kids up in there because, that's like sending meat to, like, the predator. Literally, these are predators up in there. I don't agree with sending, you treat them as an adult, but I don't agree sending kids up into prison, obviously. That's what you have juvenile system for. That's what it's for. Because it's like, if you have to, and then the bad thing about this, the weird thing about it, you can really only blame the system. Come on. Now, a lot of kids come out and do the same stuff. If you really want to change the laws and change the ways, how about y'all actually fix stuff in these systems? Like the juvenile system is just like a little mini prison for kids. They do the same stuff in there. They're bad. They run with gangs. You got kids in gangs up in there together. It's just like a mini prison. So really, I don't understand why they're saying saying that you shouldn't treat them like that, but I'm like, they commit crimes like criminals, so why can't you? Just don't throw them in a real prison until they're 18. You know what I mean? It's just that, when will they learn? And I guess you can say, I guess you can say it was true a little bit that it doesn't help their rehabilitation. That's what y'all have staff for. That's what you hire people for. You hire people in these places to fix them, give them classes, tell them right from wrong, therapy, psychologists, sociologists, like, get them to talk to these kids. That's what you do to fix it. But they don't have a lot of that. That's why a lot of the kids come back out. So their whole thing about, they shouldn't be in there, their views is like, I get it. It's very one-sided though, because I'm like, you have to look at what kind of crimes they commit. Murder is really a tough charge. In 2 years will not give them kids nothing. No kids will not learn anything in 2 years. They're not remorseful. They're just scared they got caught because they're young and they don't know right from wrong. It's like, there's a lot that go into this, so let's continue to read. Prosecuting youth as adults put them at risk. Many youth in the justice system have experienced or witnessed violence and trauma. Youth in the adult criminal system face a higher risk of sexual abuse, physical abuse, and suicide. Incarcerating children with adults also denies them access to many essential programs and services, including basic and special education, as well as treatment and counseling services, impeding their choices for healthy development. Education is also closely linked to reducing reoffending. Youth's successful reentry to their communities is compromised when they are deprived of adequate and appropriate educational opportunities. Juvenile Law Center opposes the treatment of youth as adults. The juvenile system, designed to emphasize rehabilitation over punishment, is better suited to meet youth's needs. When youth face possible involvement in the adult system, we advocate for adequate due process, including ensuring that the decision is made by a judge following a full and proper hearing and with the opportunity to appeal. I just don't agree. I agree to a little point, but oh my God, all kids don't listen. A lot of kids don't care. You have to really look at the crime to say if they should be charged as an adult. When it's murder and they're over 15, I say treat them as an adult with the crime charge. You're going to prison after juvenile because you murdered somebody. I still believe that, you take a life and you out of here. They say the brain is not fully developed until you're 25, I believe, and my brain just fully developed last year. But people still, growing up, I still knew right from wrong. I knew what to do and what not to do. You knew not to take a life. Your brain is not I don't know. I don't understand. The talk with the whole brain, the psychiatrists, how they say stuff. It's kids know what they're doing. That little boy with this crime, he influenced somehow the older one because he's 11, somehow talked this 10-year-old into helping him commit a crime. That boy agreed, and they both agreed to lure this little boy, this 8-year-old boy, and go murder him. So they knew what they were doing. I just don't agree because a lot of stuff don't fix these kids, y'all. It's hard just because of the ages, but I do believe that those kids deserve more than 2 years. I would say at least 10 years. And it's just because they're so young. I'm gonna say at the end of the video, it's hard, y'all, but I'm gonna switch to the law office of John D. Rogers. Let me share the screen with you guys. Why do some juveniles get tried as adults? In some cases, juveniles who have committed serious crimes, such as murder or sexual assault, may be transferred from the juvenile justice system to the adult criminal justice system. This transfer can occur through a judicial waiver where a judge decides to transfer the case to adult court, or through statutory exclusion where state laws require that certain crimes be tried in adult court. Arguments. Now, this is what I wanted to talk about, the arguments in favor of trying them, okay? So we have the seriousness of the crime. Proponents of trying juveniles as adults argue that some crimes are so serious that the perpetrator, regardless of the age, should be held accountable in the adult criminal justice system. They believe that trying juveniles as adults is a necessary step in ensuring that violent and dangerous criminals are punished and held accountable for their actions. 2, public safety. Another argument in favor of this is trying juveniles as adult is that it protects the public from future harm, which is true. Juveniles who have committed serious crimes are often considered a high risk of re-offenders, and may be believed that trying them as adults will reduce the risk and protect the public from future harm. 3. Deterrence. Some proponents argue that trying juveniles as adults will serve as a deterrent to other juveniles who may be considering committing crimes. They believe that the threat of being tried as an adult will deter juveniles from committing serious crimes, thereby reducing the number of crimes committed by minors. Now, you know what's crazy? I agree with all of that because it's true. Now, if there's a problem in the system when they be like, you got people who be like, they're too young to stay in the system. Juvenile law thing we read, that whole forum basically said that, you know, they shouldn't go to prison. They should stay here till they get fixed. And if they don't get fixed, they should be studied more. That's what all I heard. And that they shouldn't go to prison because it doesn't do anything. Now, if they go to prison, it's like you should be able to do whatever you can to help them till then, because prisoners, you know, the thing about prison, I need to make a thing about that. They really, offenders in there, they always reoffend. Look what's going on in there. It's nothing but crime in prison. So unfortunately, kids who are in the juvenile system and then they go off to prison is really not a good look, because it's on their part. It's like it's not really going to do anything. Now, those people are most likely to reoffend, because look at the situation they're put in. Once again, we have sexual assault and rape in prisons. We have like people who don't care about education in there. They have classes for it, but people don't care about it. Now you have drugs in there, you have murder in there, so it is a dark environment. But these kids, these youths and juveniles put themselves in that predicament. It's like they know what to do and what not to do. When you're a teenager, you know right from wrong. If you're 16 or older, they're most likely charged as an adult and they're going to be in juvenile, then prison. They did that to themselves, okay? Now, kids, it's like, I do believe that they should have just had longer times. Like, if you're going to keep them in juvenile at least more than 2 years, that's a slap on the wrist. That's actually crazy. And I think what they should say, if they're giving less time, I think they're more likely to reoffend, because they're like, okay, we can get off that easy, but you can only do it so many times. It's like, you're not going to stay young forever. That's the thing. So they definitely, to get this in these kids' heads, they definitely need more time. It's like 2 years is not nothing. And then, did y'all know something? A lot of these cases with these younger kids like this, when it happens and they have like no time in detention and they're so young, their records are wiped clean. You would never know anything about them. They do that in the UK, and I don't think that should be a thing. They should publicly shame these kids. Lack of maturity. Opponents of trying juveniles as an adult argues that juveniles are not fully developed and lack the maturity of adults, which is also true. They believe that juveniles are less able to understand the consequences of their actions, and that they believe they should be given a chance to reform and change their ways. I don't agree with that. I'm hurt to say that, because it's like, I get it, but a lot of kids don't care. It's like, and it's not the whole population. A lot of kids really do fix it, but a lot of kids don't. So this argument is so crazy, y'all, because it's like I see both sides already. 2, rehabilitation. Another argument against trying juveniles as adults is that the adult criminal justice system is not equipped to provide the rehabilitation and education that juveniles need. Juvenile justice systems are designed to provide rehabilitation and education, whereas adult criminal justice systems are primarily focused on punishment. That is very much true. 3, permanent consequences. Those against trying juveniles as adults argue that the consequences of being tried as an adult can be permanent and have a devastating impact on the juvenile's future. A criminal record can limit job opportunities and make it difficult for a juvenile to reintegrate into society. Look, if they think that's a problem, they ruined it themselves. When you start committing crimes, your future is already gone. Yes, it's a way to, like, you can fix it, do a full 360, but you will always have a record. People will always know what you did. It's always going to be there. So no matter what, it's going to be hard for these kids to find a job. You can't get mad when a child murders and then they can't find a job. You can't get mad about that. You can't get mad when a child, let's say, I'm saying child, like, like child, because it'd be young kids too. When these little kids out here raping, because there's cases like this too, and you have preteens raping people. You can't be mad when something like that happen and they're treated as an adult and they're in juvenile, and then they go to prison, then they eventually get out, and now they can't find a job. It's like, what you mean? They have a horrible record. Like, you also need to, we need to, I guess I don't even want to throw parents in here, not all the time, sometimes, because a lot of people don't raise their kids right. Now, some people do, and these kids are like thrown into peer pressure situations, and they run with bad crowds. Now, if that happens and you go to juvie or detention center, whatever, I still think they're the same thing. If you go to the juvenile thing, and if these kids attacking like this and they're peer pressured and like, you get arrested and they're in juvie, if that don't fix it, I don't know. Now, another thing they could do is, if they want to keep them, away from prisons, they should do like the two, I don't even say 3 strike, I say 2 strikes. Normally I would say 1 strike, you out. But if they want to do this for younger kids, I guess you can do 2 or 3 strikes, whatever they want, 2 or 3, no more than 3, but I would say 2 strikes. Depending on the crime, murder and sexual assault, rape like that, should go straight to juvie full time, go to prison after that, get them out of here. Because if you murder somebody, you ain't learned your lesson. You know right from wrong. You know you're taking somebody's life. They know that. Get them out of here. But if it's petty crimes and stuff like that, or let's say you beat somebody up and tried to kill them but you didn't, manslaughter, stuff like that, I would say if they're not ready to be in society, if they're not there yet, then that's on y'all, the system. That's on y'all fault. I mean, y'all couldn't fix the situation. You can't say that these kids won't learn anything if they're not in here too long. That's your job, to teach these kids right from wrong. Now, I am on the side where I say they should be, depending on the crime, they should be treated as an adult. And it also depends on the ages, unfortunately. So with this case with the 2 kids, 2 years, yeah, hell no. They murdered somebody. I would say, realistically, I would say until they're 18. It's a long time. And that's a long time to think. That's a long time to get your rehabilitation up. That's a long time. Now, they can do that. Now, I know them parents want them kids to go to prison. They want them to be in there the whole time and then go to prison for life. And I think it's because they're so young. I will also just say, juvie until they're 18 years old. Unfortunately, y'all, you got to think about the ages. But it's they did murder this little boy. It's I don't even know if rehabilitation would work for these kids nowadays, y'all. It's it's really hard. A lot of kids don't care. They don't know. But these kids knew right from wrong. They planned this. So maybe juvie until they're 18, and then 5 years of prison, I think would be appropriate. Because this is going to be on, and then put their record out, put their faces out, put their names out, shame these kids, and maybe they'll see some results. 2 years is crazy. Not enough time. What do you guys think? Should kids be charged as an adult depending on the crime? I say with murder and sexual assault cases, yes. With manslaughter, accidental, all that other stuff, I say, juvie, and depending on the extent of it, yes. It's hard, but I know some people be trying to, keep these kids and try to fix them, but if they don't want to learn, you can only do so much. So really, it's it's up to the child to fix it. You have whatever time in juvie to fix it, and if you can't, if they keep going back and forth, treat them as an adult. We need to start shaming these kids publicly, and maybe they won't do what they did. A lot of these kids become serial killers because of stuff like this, because they're not given punishments. Now, main prisons are not rehabilitation programs, okay? These are foul human beings who deserve nothing, in my opinion. They don't deserve anything, prisoners. Not everybody, because a lot of innocent people in there. But the people who in there who are guilty don't deserve no sympathy from me. They don't deserve nothing from me, okay? But you have kids in here who they end up going to prison, and they're taken aback because it's not like juvie. This is a whole nother world over here. And you don't want to be in that world. And you know, that's when they had Beyond Scare Straight. That stuff ain't work. Them kids knew they weren't going in there. It's like you had prisoners in there talking to them kids like they're crazy to scare them, and they was crying on TV. But then they went right back off the TV show doing the same things, and some of them ended up in prison. So it's like, no, a lot of stuff don't work for these kids. You murder, you need to suffer the consequences. 2 years is a slap on the wrist. They should have gave him to the 18. 8 years at least. Like, come on, man. 2 years is nothing. Now they killed the kids, names redacted, don't know what they look like. Like, they really got off, and that's insane. So let me know what you guys think of this case and this, what the topic. I'm really curious if they should be tried as an adult, or if kids should be, or should they be given the chance to rehabilitate back into society, if that is possible. So on that note, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll see you guys on the next video. Stay safe, stay aware, stay alert. Take care of your kids. Bye.